Hello, everyone. I'm Robin, and these are my book reflections. Today is a little bit of something new. I'm going to be doing book wrap ups at the end of every month. I asked you guys on the community tab, I did like a 24-hour quick poll to see for anybody who likes to watch the book reviews. I know there aren't a lot of you out there. Most people are here for tarot decks and things like that. But for those of you who do enjoy these book reviews, I wanted to ask you guys how you would like to see them presented. And of the people who responded, around 70%, maybe 71%, I can't remember, I'll pop it up here on the screen, said that they would like to see them in all of them together in a reflection at the end of the month, as opposed to one video per book like I've been doing it in the past. So this is going to be a new format for me. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to roll out, but by the end of the year, we'll see, we'll know, we'll probably have landed on something. But this is the first one. So this will be the January book reflections. And we're going to review today everything that I read either this month, in the month of January, that was either metaphysical, tarot related. I get books in for review. So if I read something that I got in for review, I'll be talking about it in these videos. If I read a guidebook that particularly catches my eye, because this year I am trying to work my way through more of my guidebooks that I've either just kind of skimmed through or I want to relook at, or I haven't read from cover to cover and I want to enjoy the whole thing from cover to cover. This is the year for that. I'm doing that this year. So if I see one, like if I read one this month, in that month that I feel I want to share, I'll put that in here as well. These videos will be found in that book reflections playlist that I have in my playlist section. Okay, so today we're going to talk about 4 books. The other thing is I'm working on getting these book reviews down to less than 10 minutes. So let's see how we do. Today we have 4 books to talk about. So if I do talk 10 minutes per book, it's going to be 40 minutes. So I really need to get it less than 10 minutes. I've scripted it out. Let's see how it goes. Okay. Wish me luck. All right, let's get started. Let's start today with this guidebook. So this is a guidebook that I have been working my way through. I'm doing a deep dive of the biblical tarot with a friend, and we are working our way through I bought the big guidebook. This is the one that you can get from Amazon for $10. I did review this book before in a separate video where I reviewed the book with the tarot deck, but I wanted to talk about this just a little bit more today as like a further down the road with it, because I have been loving this guidebook. And I know that they have a new one coming that is going to be on shadow work. And I downloaded the PDF. I'm absolutely going to be getting that one in. I am very excited. I've already looked at it. It is impressive. If you want to look at it, you can go to their website and get the PDF and take a look. For free. They offer this information up for free, as well as this book as well. I just like to have a paper version of things. So we're starting here because this is going to be really quick. I'm not going to go into a full review of this book, but if you did want to see a full review of it, you can definitely check out my full walkthrough of the deck and book. I'll put that up here for you. But I did want to talk a little bit about more about this one, as in I have discovered that I really love this book, and not just as a guidebook, but as a journaling companion, or as a sort of thought practice companion. I really love how they've laid this out. And let me just show you what I mean. So let's take a look at the 2 of Candles. All of the information here at the top is what you find written on the card. And then there's some information in regards to the scene that you see depicted on the card and the verse that is on the card as well. So what's happening in the card, right? And why what the energy is of this scene, and why it's on the 2 of Candles, why it's on the 2 of Wands, right? Then you get some upright and reverse keywords. That's all well and good. That's great. It's definitely helpful, and if you're looking to kind of get a feel for those Bible stories without having to actually jump into the Bible or do any real study on it, this is really good. It's nice and succinct. The part that has really impressed me is this section over here, right? So say I'm saying, okay, planning. Planning can mean so many different things, but they've drilled it down to carefully considering the next steps and preparing for the future. The words that they use, the adjectives that they use, really make me want to drill deeper. So I'm considering next steps, but if I am I carefully considering the steps? Am I preparing for the future when I'm considering these steps? For is it distant future or is it immediate future? All kinds of things come to my mind when I start to look at these, and then it opens me up to want to journal. So I might say, like here it says, indecision, struggling to make a choice and sticking to it. So it's not just I can't make a choice. It's like I need to make a choice and stick to it. There's just always just a little bit more available there in these little sentences that have really been inspiring me to want to journal again, which is not something that I've been doing much of lately. And since I've been using this deck so much this month because I'm deep diving it, I've been doing a lot of journaling, and I really was excited about this book. I already like this book anyway. I really enjoy the way they deliver the story information. As I was watching Carrie over at Carrie's Mystical Music, she was talking about this, and she was saying that they don't shove it down your throat, and I agree, it does, they don't shove it down your throat, right? So it's just like, here's the information, this is how it relates to tarot, and this is how it relates to kind of like a spiritual uplifting, or how it relates to a way that you can live your life spiritually. So yeah, I've been really enjoying using this guidebook, and so I just wanted to bring it up a little bit more. And if you have the deck and you haven't taken a look at this book, or it's not, it's you can find it on Amazon. I don't know if you can buy it on their website, but I'll definitely put the Amazon link in the description box below, and of course, I put that link up there if you want to see the full walkthrough of this and the deck. So that's the Biblical Tarot, the Divine Patterns of the Biblical Tarot by Krasmir Collin. So speaking of journaling, look what I have. I have the Tarot for Transformation Cups by Drea Bloom. If you have been here for any length of time on my channel and you've been watching my book reviews, I'm sure you saw me sing the praises of this series. I love the Tarot for Transformation series. There is a Major Arcana book, a Swords book, a Pentacles book, and now we have the cups. So all we're waiting for now is the wands, and I will have the complete set. These books are amazing. So let's talk about this one. I have reviewed all of the previous ones in another video. I think it's all in one video. So I'll put that up here for you, and you can look in the book review playlist. But let's look at this one. This is the new one, hot off the press, and I am so excited to have it. Thank you to Drea for sending it to me for review, and we're going to talk about it today. So if you love this series like I do, you are not going to be disappointed in this. It gives you all the things that we know and love. You get this disclaimer at the beginning of all the books. I think it's so important because Drea is a trained counselor, but I think that it is important for us as we're working with these tools alone by ourselves, that we understand that we need to be kind to ourselves, that they do not replace counseling or talking to a professional, or diet or whatever, right? So it's just important to understand that you need to listen to your doctor if you have a doctor, and this is not going to negate any of that, right? And so they put, she always puts that at the beginning. This is all of her stuff. If you want to see all of the books that she's written and information about her, she's a psychotherapist, a workshop retreat leader, a group facilitator. She's an educator and a coach, and a tarot reader and a card slinger. You're going to get several quotes throughout the book, several pages of quotes. And, just for inspiration in regards to reading tarot, in regards to the cup suit, in regards to whatever card you might be reading, there's always going to be quotes. So here we go. It says this book is journal based, and as such is full of questions and writing prompts for you to reflect on and answer. This is because in order to truly become the best version of yourself, you first have to become an expert on yourself. Who are you? Where do you come from? How has your past influenced your future? What motivations underlay your behavior? What is it that you really want? Therefore, your progress along this journey is directly based upon you doing the work, really doing the work. No excuses, which means not just reading through the book, but actually carving out the time to sit down and write. It doesn't matter how much, just that you write this lets you write something. This is an opportunity for you to be honest with yourself, develop important insights, and chart a course for the future that is free of negative emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual baggage. A future that will allow you to fulfill your potential and have a life worth living. So please buy a notebook or a journal to accompany you on this journey. It will be one of the best investments you've ever made. It says a word of caution. Some of the readings and journal questions in this book can bring up strong emotions. So, first, please take your time. And after all, Rome wasn't built in a day. There's no rush. Slow but steady is a perfect pace. And then, second, be sure that you have support as you go through the book. And finally, remember that you can always skip a part of the reading or a journal or a question if you're worried that something might trigger distressing memories or feelings that you do not want to explore. This book is designed to stretch your comfort zone, but your emotional safety is always the priority. And that's so important to remember. So, what this book does is it goes through the Waite-Smith Tarot card by card. So, this book is specifically on the cup suit. So, you've got the 14 cards in the cup suit. So, it's going to go through the cup suit card by card. It's going to analyze the meanings of the cards and how it can pertain to your life. It's going to analyze the imagery in the cards. It's going to analyze the coloring. It's going to analyze everything that Drea has researched about that card. And then it's going to ask you questions regarding your life and how you can then take the energy of that card and apply it to your world and apply it to change. Because it's tarot for transformation. So the goal here is to think about how we can elevate ourselves, how we can change, how we can be the best selves that we can be through using these questions. I like to use these books if I find that a card is stalking me, for instance. I keep seeing it pop up and pop up and pop up. I'll pull out one of these books if I have it, because I don't have the wands yet, but I'll pull out one of these books and look it up, and read the chapter and find out, dig into it. The introduction to this book is about 50 pages long, I would say. And there's no page numbers. But I would say it's about 50 pages long. It talks about Kabbalah, it talks about alchemy. It even gives definitions for the stages of alchemy. It talks about Hebrew Hermeticism, Attila, Rider-Waite-Smith, and their outlook on the deck. So there's a lot that it taps on in the beginning of this deck in regards to the tarot in general and using the tarot for transformation. And then let's look at one of the cards. Let's just look at the Ace of Cups. Here we are. This book is so new that it's not laying flat. All my other books lay pretty flat. This one doesn't want to lay flat because it's so new. Each chapter quotes various tarot books. So you get a little bit from Mary Kay Greer. You get some clips from the Pictorial Key to the Tarot, which was written by Arthur Edward Waite, who is the person who conceptualized the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, and that's the book that he wrote to go along with it. And then you get some other tarot scholars information in here as well. So it's kind of like all combined into one place. And I love that about these books. You can, if you're really trying to study the tarot, this is a good way to do it because you're going to get little snippets from different places. And then you can then use that to, as a springboard to go read those other books if you're interested. So then she goes on to further discuss that Holy Grail iconography and then give you some questions to then ask yourself after reading that. So you have questions like, how do you define your faith or your spirituality? You see the Ace of Cups. Maybe this is a question you could be asking yourself. Have you experienced religious trauma? And if so, what steps might you take to begin your healing journey? What spiritual disciplines or practices would you like to explore more deeply? What does being whole mean to you? What does it mean to be in harmony with life, to be in harmony with your life? Because, part of that Holy Grail and those streams of water falling from there is about the harmony of all of the things coming together, right? How do you cultivate inner peace in your daily life? And when do you feel most in sync with the world around you? So many questions, and there's more questions here. But then there's this interesting section that walks through the entire cup suit as if and pulls out all of the religious overlay if you take that Holy Grail iconography and you pull it through the whole suit. So here we have the Grail, and here we have Christ that came to Joseph in the tower and brought him the sacred vessel, and that's the Two of Cups. And then we've got Joseph collected his relatives and many companions who had embraced Christianity at his insistence. And by the will of God, the party started westward carrying the Holy Grail. And it just goes on. And it's so intriguing to watch that unfold in those pages. I don't know if I haven't read Mary K. Greer's whole book. So I'm not sure if that was pulled directly from there, but I'm so happy to have it in here. So then it leaves behind the Grail symbolism, and it starts to talk about the goddess symbolism, the maiden mother, triple goddess, the spiral goddess, the cauldron of the great goddess, and it goes into that. And then you get pages and pages on that goddess symbolism and questions about divine feminine and in what ways do you feel connected to divine feminine energy with yourself? What symbols or archetypes represent the divine feminine for you? In what areas of your life do you need to cultivate more self compassion or gentleness? Questions on understanding emotions, exploring emotional triggers and patterns, emotional self awareness, and reflection. Once it's done with the section on the goddess, it goes into the five symbolism, or the 5-pointed star, the pentagram, because you have the 5 streams of water. So now we're talking about that number 5, 5 fingers and toes on each limb, the 5 books of Moses, the 5 piercings of Christ, the 5 pillars of Islam, the 5 elements that make up the universe in classical alchemy. And it talks about all of that, and it goes on, I mean, for pages on these symbols of 5. And then more questions about all of those things. Throughout here, as it goes through more symbolism, as it works through connections between, the other cards and the Ace of Cups, you get quotes from various scholars. You get just general questions to ask yourself as you're reading through this. If something is standing out to you, or is feeling like, if it's feeling like it's something you want to dig deeper into, there are questions to ask yourself. So much. And I'm still on the Ace of Cups here. So, I mean, the Ace of Cups by itself is, I would say, about a 50-page section before it gets into the Two of Cups. So from the 2 on, I would say that they're probably about 10 pages each, because it's not all of the encompassing of this suit, right? Because we've done all of that in the first one. So there's a little less to read from the 2 on, but there's still, I would say, about 10 to 15 pages a piece of each card, and it even goes into the court cards in the back. So you've got the Queen, got some different renditions of the Queen of Cups here, and it talks about the changes there and things. It's so good. It's so good. And if you're just interested in the history of tarot, this is a nice book to have. Or if you're interested in, like it says, transformation and using the symbolism of tarot and what you notice in the cards or what is coming up for you in your readings, to think about, working through ways to transform your life, there are questions in here that are great for journaling and can help you do that. So that is the Tarot for Transformation, the Cups. I'm so excited to have this in my hands, on my shelf next to the other books, waiting with bated breath for the Wands. Maybe we'll get it this year, maybe next year. But so for right now, Tarot for Transformation Cups is available by Drea Bloom. I will put the link in the description box below. This one I've been reading every week since I got it back in November, maybe, or might have been October. So I definitely wanted to make sure I covered this one in this video, because this is a long time coming. This is the Spiritual Aging Weekly Reflections for Embracing Life by Carol Orspern, PhD. This was sent over to me for review by Inner Traditions. Thank you to Inner Traditions for sending this over to me for review, and so that I can share it with you. These are weekly readings that you can do, and there are 2 years worth of weekly readings in the book. So you've got week 1 of December, week 2 of December, all the way through for 2 years. I think the reason I like this so much is because I feel like it's meeting me sort of where I am right now, and in my life, that perimenopausal, just getting a little bit up there, just can't get around as quickly in the morning as I used to be able to kind of situation. I think that sometimes you need something that's going to be like, it's not going to be telling you the same old. And it's just like, okay, I feel like sometimes, not every reading, but a lot of the readings feel like it's for people who've been around the block a few times. So let's just see what it says. It says, many of us navigating the years beyond midlife report high levels of self acceptance, freedom, and joy. But there can also be bouts of second guessing and regret, as well as the occasional longing to be reminded that you are not alone in this. Designed to be read weekly in 2-year cycles, the 120 timeless readings in this book focus on the issues and concerns that arise among those who view aging as a path to spiritual culmination, transforming loneliness to solitude, loss of identity to freedom, anger to self protection, fear to faith, and envy to love. Arsborn's wise and compassionate insights are seasoned by quotes and stories by and about mystics, sages, and old souls from ancient through contemporary times who illuminate the path to living a full life while embracing old age. The connecting thread is the reminder that you have what it takes to shift from reacting with fear to the challenges of aging, instead accepting these challenges in a spirit of gratitude as they help you grow not just old, but whole. And I do think I feel that in this book, it's not like a hit you over the head every reading, but week by week, it just helps you feel like a little bit stronger. And sometimes it might get into the negative side of things, and sometimes it might get into the positive side of things. Sometimes it might get into the fear, and sometimes it might get into the protection. You know what I mean? And there's 120 readings. I have obviously not read them all. I only just started reading it when I got the book, but you know, I've been enjoying it. So the beginning of the book, and you have the dedication. Here is the table of contents. You can just see year 1, year 2, and a little bit of extra sources in the back. There's a foreword by Harry R. Moody, PhD. And then it gets into the introduction. So it says, "Greetings, old friend." No pun intended. Actually, pun probably intended. You and I have been working spiritually and psychologically for a long time to get to this place of arrival. We who have been transformed by the challenges of time have tasted the wholeness, freedom, and completion that is life's promise to us. We count ourselves fortunate to walk arm in arm with our cohort of lifelong seekers, following the path of the mystics, elders, and old souls who have lit the way. The rewards wrested from growing older are greater than we'd ever expected. But even here, advancing toward the peak of adult and spiritual development, rising to meet life's many occasions is sometimes more than we can bear. Just when we begin to celebrate a degree of mastery, something unexpected raises the bar. We encounter old wounds we thought we made peace with long ago. The things we were most afraid of knocks at the door, or we simply forget for a time how small we are and how big the mystery. One of the ironies of age is that the past levels of mastery will never prove sufficient because as we expand and deepen our consciousness, the questions become only larger. This book of readings has come to you at this particular bend in the road to meet you wherever you are in your journey through life. Every week for the next 2 years and beyond, you will be reminded how far you have come already, and regardless of what life brings your way, you are never truly lost or alone. I literally lived, breathed, and dreamed these readings over the past 7 years, and I spent every morning recalling learnings gleaned from the most recent of more than 1,000 dreams. In keeping with the intuitive nature of inner work, while the readings subtly build upon one another, they are not linear. And that is true. They're very subtle in their building. So they don't need to be linear. If you wanted to do sort of a bibliomancy thing where you just pick one, you could totally do that. I think there's an appendix in the back. Let me just look. Yeah, you can look it up by, there's an index back here. You can look it up by subjects. So this is a list of whatever moods you might be facing, issues you could be facing, interests that you might have. So there's an index back here. You can take screenshots if you're interested in seeing the types of topics that she's covering. So it says, in the end, how you incorporate this book into your life is as free and creative as your unique approach to aging. For instance, you may want to open the book at random, trusting that you are being led to the exact reading you most need at this time. Additionally, the subject index, yeah, we talked about that. It says the book assures you of the possibility of living life's promise 1 week at a time. It has come into your life at this juncture to remind you of what you already intuit. However old you are, however challenging your circumstances, you can fulfill your life's purpose. Nothing of what you've been through from the moment you were conceived through the present has been wasted. And in the coming pages, you may discover a new level of freedom in your life that is nothing you anticipated, but more than you'd hoped for. Shall we begin? And then it goes right into year one. So I am filming this video in the last week of January. So let's read the fourth week of January reading. I haven't read it yet, so we're going to read it together. So it says some weeks we are more aware than others of old habits, ways of thinking, and behaviors that we know are beneath us. If this is one of those weeks, the time has come to forgive yourself for still harboring self-protective, if no longer necessary, strategies of your youth that once were necessary for your survival. For so many years, you had to rely on your ego defenses, the belief that you could control things and beat the odds to succeed. Without these beliefs, there would have been aspects of yourself too vulnerable to be left exposed, unprotected. However, many of these coping strategies created issues of their own that you then had to address. For instance, how often did you exhaust yourself justifying your actions when no defense was needed? How much time did you squander gathering evidence to support a fear that was never based on anything real? How often have you gone down the rabbit hole mistaking resentment for truth? At times, you have judged yourself too harshly by seeking perfection or by comparing yourself to others. Now that you are finding the courage to set your ego defenses aside, what better use can you make of your time and spirit? Here are 7 hints. Relish every facet of your personality. Yes, even that one. So it's like, wait, you want me to relish this part of me too? Yes, even that. Have fun, waste time, or do whatever interests you, trusting that whatever you want to do this week is as much a part of being whole as productivity, making amends, and soul searching. Number 3, appreciate that the quality of your relationship is not measured by the amount of time you spend together or degree of proximity, but the abundance of love you carry for others in your heart. Number 4, commit to living your life out of your values, no matter the consequences. And even when there are unintended consequences, trust you would very well make the same choices over again. Number 5, send love to body parts that no longer perform as they used to, tendering gratitude for all their years of hardworking service. Number 6, accept your circumstances for what they can't help being. There are no exceptions. And number 7, whatever mood you're in, whatever life has handed you, you can be kind. I think that's a lovely message for this week. I like this book a lot, and I haven't found anything in it that has made me go, huh. There are some mentions of spirituality. There are some mentions of Christianity and other types of religions as well, Buddhism and things. So if you're not religious, if you're not spiritual or religious, this book might not be for you. But otherwise, I think that this is pretty amazing. It is a small little book. The size is tiny. Hang on, this is my iPad, so you can kind of gauge. This is the size of it. So it's little, and it's little and chunky, and you could fit it like in a purse if you carry a purse, or keep it in your desk at work if you want to read it there, and it's not going to take up too much space. I do wish it had a hard cover, just because it's meant to be used for 2 years and then reused again. I'm thinking about getting one of those, like, those plastic covers you can put over top of books that just you can see through it, but it kind of protects, because this is already, as you can see, it's already starting to curl from me opening it every week and reading it for a few months, and the edges are already starting to get a little battered, and I take pretty good care of my stuff, but over 2 years, this has not even been 1 year, and it's already starting to look a little frayed. So it's not, we get a soft cover, we don't get a hard cover. So I think that's what I'm thinking about doing to rectify that. But other than that, I think that this book is amazing. I think that the pages are nice and tough. It's those tough pages that you get in a book, so they're not going to rip or tear. You could write in them and it highlight, and that wouldn't cause any problems. There are the margins are kind of large, so if I wanted to make notes, I could. There's no space for notes in the back, but I could see myself writing in the margins a little bit. So yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. So thank you to Inner Traditions for sending it over, and I'm happy to be able to share it with you guys. Link will be in the description box below. I always use Amazon affiliate links for these things, but you can pick this up directly from the publisher as well. But if you do decide to get it from Amazon, I do appreciate it when you guys use those links. They help me out. The last book that I have to share with you guys today is Tarot by Numbers by Liz Dean. I have definitely shared this on the channel several times before. Every time I do Marseille for May video, I talk about this book. And I have read it and reread it a couple of times now, skimmed through it, whatever. I like this book. It is a book about numbers and as they pertain to tarot. And it goes through the RWS. It's not for Marseille. I have a different book that I use for Marseille, but this one is for the RWS. And you can kind of think about all of the cards in regards to their numbers. So it talks about the major arcana numbers, the minor arcana by the numbers, timing for your intuition and ways to use your intuition to determine timing. And then there are some more techniques and tarot spreads for determining timing, birth cards, and how to calculate those. And then there's some things about the Kabbalah. There's a directory of card meanings and some acknowledgments and an index in the back. The introduction just talks about tarot and numbers and why we would correlate them, basically. And you've got some charts here of all of the different numbers and what they would associate them with. Here shows you the Roman numerals for anybody who might be having trouble working those out, because I know sometimes the cards will have Roman numerals on them. It talks about the 3 stages of the Fool's Journey. It breaks up the cards based on those stages. It gives you some examples of how to read using the numbers in the spreads, and the placement in the spread, like if it's the 5th card or the 6th card and that kind of stuff. Then it gives just some lists of meanings based on the numbers. So you've got a little bit of grouping of the numbers here. So all of the numbers associated, all of the cards associated with the number 1, Magician, Wheel of Fortune, and Sun, cards associated with 2, and it goes through 9. And then by card, it walks through them all. So the number 1, all the cards associated with 1, all the cards associated with 2, and it gives key meanings and then a little bit of what the meaning could be based numerologically. So when you get into the minors, it talks about, it brings in the elements as well, and it gives you a spread. So when you get into the aces, so you have aces, and then you got a spread for the aces, and it shows you here an example of it. The same, like you have 3s, and here's a spread for the 3s, and so it goes through all of them, and that way, even into the court cards. Then the next couple of chapters are on timing with the tarot. This is a small section on ethics and timing, just because if you're going to be reading timing, be careful kind of situation. And then it gives some spreads and ways to kind of discern timing using different spreads. It's month aheads, week ahead, that kind of stuff. And then there's some ways to discern timing based on using your intuition, using numbers as symbols, things like counting up the cards at the end of a spread and using that number to bring more information to the spread. All kind of information in here on ways to use numbers to read your cards. This book is fantastic. And if you like to work with numerology or numbers in general when you're reading, it gives you so many different things. Now, I'm not saying that everything in here is like gold and you're going to want to do it all, but it's nice to have it all in here. And I think every time I read it, I pick up something else that I add to my practice or I use for a little while and maybe then put it aside. I love this book and I like rereading it and getting new things from it. This year, I'm actually doing a read through of it with a group on Instagram. It is hosted by Cozy Core Craft and Huga Tarot. If you want, I will put the links to their Instagram in the description box below, as well as they both have YouTube channels as well. You guys probably know them. They do the videos on the is it like a capsule collection videos? I can't remember, but I'll put their links in the description box below if you want to get in touch with them and join the group. We're over there studying this book, and then I don't know what we're going to be studying next, but it's a Marseille study group basically. So yes, definitely, if you're interested in numbers and the RWS and all that sort of stuff, check this one out. It is an interesting book that you can get anywhere you buy your tarot books. And again, this is Tarot by Numbers by Liz Dean. And that is the last one. So have you seen anything here that you're interested in picking up, that it's on your wish list, that you are thinking about getting, that you already have on your shelf and you've been using it? I'd love to hear how you're using it, how it's going for you, any stories you have regarding them. Let us know the things in the comments below. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends or anybody who you think might be interested in seeing things about these books. Helps the algorithm, because book reflections are not my normal content on this channel. So these videos don't necessarily get shown by the YouTube algorithm that much. So it helps when you share them. So I thank you guys if you're out there sharing them or doing the thumbs up or commenting. All of those things help the video. So thank you so much for doing that. All right. So going forward, this will be the format that I do the book reviews. And like I said, any of the previous book reviews you want to see, you can find those in that book reflections playlist that I have. And then anything that I said I was going to link, that will all be in the below the description box. So if you scroll down past the description box, those links that popped up here will all be down there. And yeah, I'm looking forward to next month. I've already started reading another book, so I know I'll be finished with that one at the end of February. So that one will be, I think every video will probably have between 2 and 3 books. I might get happy and get to 4. I doubt there'll be more than 4 books a month, because I read other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I like my smut novels and my and my mysteries, and I need time for that too, you know. So, but I would say I probably read between 2 and 3 metaphysical books a month, and I can just review them all in one video now. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And until I see you guys next time, stay safe and be blessed. Bye bye.